Let us return now to the place where we started, to my family's mountain land in Alabama. This time to a balmy full moon night in May 2001, when I arrived home to be present for my mother's departure from this world. I chose Mama's story as the first one for this book, as my desire to have a home funeral vigil and my experiences at Mama's final threshold form the foundation of all that I am doing now as a green funeral director and natural after-death care minister and guide. Mama was always a good storyteller, and in her death, she created one of her finest tales. Naturally, this rendition is my version of what happened. If you asked my sisters or brother what transpired, you would hear very different experiences. My story of my mother's death is actually an entire book that I have worked on for years. I have focused on the parts of Mama's story that are most relevant to our inquiry here. What it meant to me to return to my mother in her dying and find a new relationship to death. The dramas and adventures that ensued when I came home to a family that was unprepared for my certainties and enthusiasm for having a home funeral and caring for Mama's body ourselves, and how nature and the spirits of land and place were integral players and support for all that unfolded at Mama's threshold. I felt the urgency of the hospice nurse's words on the phone. If you want to be present for your mother's death, please return to Alabama as soon as you can. As hard as it was, my teenage daughter Eliza, burdened by exams and the end of sophomore year in high school, chose to remain behind on our island with friends. The flight from Seattle was long, and Papa was late picking me up in the truck, so it was almost midnight when we reached the last winding curve into our mountain cove. A huge luminous orb of a moon hung low over the mountains, beckoning like a portal in the night sky. I wondered if the pull of the full moon was helping Mama finally let go. At least its light could be her radiant escort, dancing in the creek waters and spilling over red clay furrows newly planted with corn. Its brightness turned the gates at the entrance to our land silver and lit up the steep, rocky drive as the truck bumped and jostled its way up the hill and came to a silent halt in the clearing. No loud honk of the horn, as Papa usually did to herald arrivals home, no matter what the hour. Not like the good old days, when Mama stayed up waiting, vegetable soup bubbling on the stove, keeping the top half of the door ajar so light from the kitchen could pour out a welcome. I so wanted to see my mother, hurrying down the stone flag steps, wiping her hands damp from late-night dishes on her denim skirt, holding out her arms to me halfway down the walk, mouth pensive, but eyes bright, seizing me in a tight, quick little hug, as was her way, filling empty spaces with buoyant words. "You're home, Lou, on the mountain again. Look at the maidenhair fern. Hasn't it grown? I've put clean sheets on the Papa Bear bed. Hope that suits you. Isn't it good to be here?" I would smile and nod, drinking in my mother's textures and smells. Old cotton garden sweater, onions, garlic, bourbon, and something else. Something I depended upon completely. The dearest freshness, deep down things.